Welcome to the Bend Don't Break podcast. We are powered by The Source, Bend's locally owned media company and weekly newspaper. This podcast is our eddy in the rushing waters of local journalism. We are glad that you're taking some of your time to listen to us chat with the people who shape our local community. Support us through our member program at bendsource.com.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, RE/MAX Key Properties, a family-owned full-service real estate brokerage specializing in residential, luxury, commercial, new construction, and ranch and land properties. Their new state-of-the-art facility at 42 Greenwood Avenue is a modern, collaborative space and the new home of the Bend Don't Break podcast recording studio.
I'm Aaron Switzer, publisher of The Source and producer of this podcast with my ally in studio, Megan Burton, co-producer. We have with us today Peter Franc. He is the executive director, artistic director of Ballet Bend. Peter leads Ballet Bend's artistic vision and season programming, serving as the primary liaison for visiting companies and oversees production planning, residency style engagement, fundraising, marketing coordination, and budget management. He is an accomplished dance leader with experience performing, teaching, choreographing, and programming at the highest professional levels. Is choreographing a word?
Choreographing. Yeah,
Choreographing.
you're like one Y away. It's like
My apologies. Trained through elite programs including Joffrey Ballet Summer Training and Houston Ballet Academy. He performed as a soloist with Houston Ballet, later touring with Aspen Santa Fe Ballet, and was a principal dancer with Oregon Ballet Theatre. He has created award-winning choreography, served as an interim artistic director at Oregon Ballet Theatre, programming 3 seasons, including 18 world company premieres, 9 by female choreographers. I got that one right.
Yeah, well done.
And supporting subscriber growth and strong ticket sales post-pandemic. Peter Franc, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. Good to see you again.
Peter, you're currently living in Portland.
Currently, yes.
Yeah, but the goal is to relocate here
Yes, indeed.
and get Ballet Bend off the tarmac.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and 2 kids are in Portland. We bought there in 2015
Yeah,
when I moved to join Oregon Ballet Theatre.
yeah.
But now I've just been doing the commute. I'm over here about once every 2 weeks
Okay.
for 3-4 days at a time.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful drive. My wife and I, we fell in love living in Colorado in Aspen. So
Yeah.
being here kind of reminds us of that backdrop to our early story.
Before we dive too far into Ballet Bend, and it should be noted that is probably one of the funnest names to say. It just feels good in your mouth, you know.
It does.
You can say it over and over again.
Once I found it, I didn't want to
Ballet
overthink
Bend.
it. I was like, that's it.
Yeah, it sounds French if you're not listening too closely.
Well, that's good because ballet originates from France. All the vocabulary is French, so that's
Yeah.
good.
How did you originally get started in dance?
Like most teenagers or young boys in America in the early 90s, bringing your
You saw
boy.
flash dance.
Yeah. No, bringing your boys to ballet class was not the thing to do. I was like
Yeah.
most kids. I like to be active, play a lot of sports, be outside, climbing around. All those things are still true.
Yeah.
But we had a very musical family. There was always music on. We
Mm.
appreciated the arts. So when I was in 6th grade, I took an acting camp. It's like 2 weeks. I was in a play
Yeah.
at the end, and I really enjoyed it. And one of the teachers recommended, you should try to take a dance class if you're going to be a performer.
Right.
Put another
gotta
tool in your toolkit there. So I was hell bent against ballet. I'm not doing ballet, but I had seen enough music videos and shows that I saw
Right.
jazz dancing. So okay, I'll try jazz. So we found a jazz class. Went to the jazz class. There's a couple of the guys there, so I didn't
Yeah.
feel like a total loner. And the guy to girl ratio was also something that
There's always
seemed like
good.
it could
That's
work
right.
in my favor. So I was like, all right, I'll try this. So I did that for a couple months, and then there was a teacher who came to the class, and she saw me, and she invited me to come and take her ballet class
Yeah.
and partner one of her girls and be in her ballet piece.
Yeah.
She offered.
This is when she said, "I got some bad news. You're good at this."
She didn't say that. She offered me $20 a week to come and do it. So I was like, that's a lot of money for a
Yeah.
6th or 7th
Sure.
grader. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. And I fell in love with it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
After that, just the way that she taught. I had also never been so physically stumped, just as
Mhm.
far as a challenge, the amount of coordination
Yeah.
And it was this unique combination of like half athlete and half artist, right?
Right.
Everything I was doing was in concert with the music, right? Expressing
Mhm.
something, right? That acting component,
Yeah.
there's a feeling there, but there's also an athletic pursuit. So it's this really cool
Yeah.
marriage of things. So it took pretty quickly.
Yeah. And how old were you when you finished your tutelage under this this ballet instructor?
Under this instructor, she the next year started her own serious dance school because this
Mhm.
was kind of a rinky-dink place I was at. So she started her own place. I could identify that she was
Yeah.
the real deal. So I went and I was with her until I was 16, and then
Okay.
we moved from Atlanta to Louisville, Kentucky, and then my
Okay.
training had to change. But
Have we talked about that I'm from Atlanta too? Or both?
I don't know if we put that together now.
I grew up in Atlanta as
Okay.
well. Yeah, what part?
Right on. I grew up in Alpharetta. I went to Milton High School, Northwestern, near
Yeah.
Roswell.
Yeah, I was Chambly Tucker,
Okay.
not that far away.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's where it feels like I grew up. I was
Okay.
8 to 16 years
Yeah.
old, so all the hits.
Definitely not a lot of ballet encouragement, I think, in Atlanta.
No, not where I was, not at the time, and I got bullied a lot,
Yeah.
to be honest, right? Going through puberty, I'm an
Yeah.
easy target when they find out that I go to
Yeah.
dance class, and I luckily had very supportive parents. They knew I kind of marched to the beat of my own drum, and we had a lot of, heart-to-hearts, and just basically had to understand that mean kids aren't really gonna matter in the
Yeah.
long run, right? Easier said than done, but, by the time I was 15, I started, knowing it was pretty serious. So I got a lot of good feedback from
Sure.
teachers. I would go away for the summer and train for 6 weeks at different intensive programs, which you talked about,
That's cool.
and that's how I got to check in with the larger community outside of my small community in Georgia. You understand that there is actually a big world out there.
Right.
And this is how hard I need to push if I'm
Right.
gonna fulfill my potential and make it happen. So,
Yeah, that's something that is badly needed when you're growing up in an Atlanta suburb. Find out that there's a larger world out there
yeah, it took a
where
long
people
time.
dance and
Yeah, to not be scared to have a shirt on that said dance on it and
yeah,
get bullied, took some time.
yeah.
I remember there was a Super Bowl commercial, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was Eli Manning and another player. They were rehearsing a lift. They wanted to do this touchdown celebration, and they were doing the lift from, oh my gosh, Dirty Dancing at the end. And they were in their tights, and it was fun. It was fine, and it was normal for that to be in a commercial, right? It was funny, but they weren't laughing at it.
Right,
And
right.
the fact that that was normal enough to put in a commercial and for them to do as football players,
Yeah.
I remember I got a little bit choked up, and I was just happy to see like, hey,
It's mainstream.
this is progress
Right.
in some way
Yeah,
compared to where I felt like I was.
that's great. Are you so from there, did you head to Houston?
Yeah, so I went to Houston every summer starting when I was 14 years old,
Okay.
and trained with the academy there. They have a wonderful men's program, really wonderful company.
Yeah.
They had invited me to stay and train year round with the academy because it's a wonderful way to feed into the company, have the best students, and then train them to be in the company there. My parents um, didn't allow me to do that. Family was important, so
Okay.
they're like, "No, we're letting you go for the summer, but you can keep coming home and walk the dog. And we have siblings, and
Right.
you have the rest of your life to be an adult." So I didn't fight them too hard on that.
Yeah.
Um, I was close with the family, so every summer I did that, and then once I graduated from high school, I was at Louisville, at the time. Then I finally went to Houston, spent
Okay.
one more year training, what would have been my
Yeah.
freshman year of college, in this sort of second company. It's just the top tier of the school, and
Yeah.
work with the company a little bit just to continue fine-tuning my skills.
Yeah.
Because once you get into a company, you're spending your day working on rep, different ballets, different roles,
Yeah.
different pieces, so the technique that you carry into that career, it's only so high, and then you start your focus on different
Right.
stuff. So I wanted to make sure I was dialed and strong, and that way I'd be able to climb higher once I got a job.
I feel like my perception of ballet and what it takes to succeed in ballet is probably molded by all the movies I've seen with ballet people in it, where it's just cutthroat, hard, you know, like I think a Black Swan, is the worst example, but like other things about Russian dancers, and is it like
Mhm.
that? I mean, how hard is it? What is there camaraderie? What's it like to try to break through from being a young dancer to somebody who's going to be a professional like you are?
Yeah, that's an awesome question.
Yeah.
We could do hours on this. everything you see in the movies is amplified.
Yeah.
So there's some truth within a lot of the stuff, but
Yeah.
it's they do like to lean into some of the sometimes lazy stereotypes.
Right.
Um, there is a level of competition, but I found that most of the competition was people who were competing with themselves. I was competitive because I wanted to succeed, not
Yeah.
because I wanted to be mean or have other people not succeed.
Yeah.
So you have to be driven to work as hard as you're going to work, um, to make it happen. Now, there is also the pressure and the nerves of a big role. You finally get
Sure.
into
Right.
to the point where you get cast in something, but then you realize like I gotta deliver here, and there's a lot of detail that goes into making sure that you're up to snuff there. And a lot of people don't realize that when you're in a company, you bring in different stagers or different choreographers from all over the world because you're going to do 9 different productions a year. But they bring in their own team of people who kind of
Okay.
audition the
Yeah.
company. So they take a look at the company, they they teach material, they they figure out who's going to be cast right, who should be in what types of group, who
Right.
excels. So you're constantly being reevaluated by these guest coaches and
And pulled into
choreographers
their
and pulled into how
ethos. Yeah.
how they
Right.
see this production or
Right.
new piece looking. So you're constantly
That seems.
auditioning against your colleagues in these new experiences, and sometimes egos, if somebody's ranked higher than you and they think they should
Yeah.
have the part, or you're young and you get it ahead of them.
Yeah.
Some people deal with that better than others, but they're just kind of, you got to have a tough skin, and that's kind of their problem, and you kind of
Yeah.
roll with it. But usually it's just a sense of we're all here to succeed, and
Yeah.
it kind of builds a sense of it's all fair.
Yeah.
If you and we could all recognize, hey, you're really good at this person's
Sure.
really good at that, and I can see that you're doing well, so you respect game when you see it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all's fair, and we all give it a
Yeah.
good
I mean,
shot.
you take that for granted with athletics. I think ballet gets put in its own. Again, I'm going to movies, gets put into its own class because there's the arts associated with it. So it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I think anybody familiar with making a team or, trying out for multiple teams is familiar with like, oh, I got to perform, but it's never portrayed that way with dancers. I don't think because there's that artistic aspect and supposedly everybody's more vulnerable and it's not going to be quite the same. And so,
You're exactly right, because even though you might audition for a lead role, still a lot of the work is group work or partners or
yeah,
trios or so you're still working
yeah,
together and need to be able to communicate and trust. And even if you're not working with somebody in this piece, you might be really intimately connected with them in another piece.
yeah,
So it behooves you to have a wonderful team
yeah,
element and vibe. I would say Center Stage was a movie that came out when I was younger, I
yeah.
think late 90s. That's kind of not too far off. The movie Turning Point is probably the most accurate.
Okay.
A movie from the 70s with
Yeah.
Baryshnikov. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, I enjoy all of them, but I would say
Yeah.
Turning Point would be the one I'd recommend.
No good.
Center
Yeah.
Stage started getting
There
a little
for
Hollywood,
listeners.
and then Black Swan was really
Oh,
Hollywood.
I love that movie.
I love
though.
Natalie
I
Portman.
love it. Yeah, yeah, I did too. Yeah, it all was, but it was crazy.
It put dance and the conversation
Yeah.
on the map in some ways. So
Yeah.
there's no such thing as
Oh, good.
bad press, I guess.
Going back to what you were saying about those traveling companies, because that's fascinating to me, is like it's a constant process of being evaluated. It's not like that is different than sport, where okay, a coach you make the team, you're on the team, you got your coach, you got a philosophy that you're following, you get the playbook, you know what's going on. But if you're working at Houston Ballet and you have this, I mean, that's got to be mentally pretty draining or pretty tough.
Well, it's constant feedback.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of getting feedback. Even when these groups come in, these group of stagers or choreographers, they pick
Yeah.
you to be in this piece. They pick you because of your qualities.
Right.
But then you spend the next 4 to 6 to 8 weeks
Yeah.
fine tuning and getting your body conditioned to this specific style or to this specific role. It might be a lot of jumping, might be a lot of partnering, might be a lot of cardio, and they know specifically how to condition you and to talk to you about it.
Right.
But you're just trying it and getting feedback. This style's not right. You're not deep enough in your legs. This needs to be higher, yada, yada. So you're even even the week of the show, you're on stage, you're getting used to the lights and stuff, but they're still in the house and they come up on stage and these are the notes. You're just like notes, notes, notes.
Right.
So that by showtime you're close, but it's not like, hey, we casted, great job. We're just gonna run it and high five each other. Like it's just
Oh, right.
you're working and you're figuring out mechanics, and you
Right.
might be working with a
Yeah.
partner that has different dimensions and different strengths and different mechanics work for you that don't
Yeah.
work for the other couple. And there might be some space for different versions of things to happen. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'm a lefty. Do you mind if I alter this a little bit? And sometimes I say yes
Oh,
or
yeah.
no. And
I'm definitely having a mental breakdown. I can just definitely. As
That-
soon as that next choreographer works in, I'm like, I just went through this with this last guy.
And-
Like,
yeah, and you're working sometimes on multiple programs. Sometimes you're doing a mixed bill, or we're going to the theater, we're performing this full length of Onegin, but we're also doing this triple bill with these new choreographers.
yeah, yeah.
So you're adapting to
That's
point
cool.
shoes on and off, or am I
Yeah.
wearing tights, or am I getting down and dirty? So
Right.
yeah, but that variety, and
That's
to be
cool.
honest, those
Yeah.
conversations in the studio and problem solving with people that you're close with, and mostly we're all friends, really.
Yeah.
Like all drama and funny stuff aside, we're all very, very
Yeah.
close. That conversation and figuring out how to make it
Yeah.
happen, and that vulnerability you share and the trust that you build, that was my favorite thing about being a
Yeah.
dancer. I mean, shows were
Yeah.
fun, but just that experience was very unique.
So then, so from there, you're going to Oregon Ballet. What brings you to Oregon?
Yeah, so
is it the Oregon Ballet?
Yeah, so from Houston Ballet, I had a couple injuries. I was 25, 26. I'm starting having some overuse stuff. And it kind of alerted me to the fact that there's a shelf life like any athlete. I wanted to experience a different culture, different type of company mission, different type of growth. So I really love the contemporary ballet stuff, which takes classical mechanics and technique and bodies, but you give license to the choreographers to explore different physical directions and unique staging and just kind of more, I don't know, thought-provoking or physical provocative ideas.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something different rather than just go to another big ballet company with the same recipe. So I went to Aspen Santa Fe Ballet. They're a touring company. So we toured there with them about 3-4 months a year.
That's fun.
Did a lot of contemporary new work. That was really great.
Was that touring U.S. or were you outside the U.S. with them?
International and national.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
So Italy, Russia,
Yeah.
Spain, Canada, all over
Wow.
the U.S.
Yeah.
Wolf Trap and Kennedy Centers. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So I did that, but then I did start to miss the classical demands, just as far as for some, classical is easier for some and contemporary is more easy for others. But something about the amount of focus it took to recreate the classical ballet execution on stage was just a level of demand that I, for some reason, was obsessed with mastering, even though no matter
How
what
old were
type,
you at the time?
when I was in that company,
Yeah, when you really wanted to get back to classical.
back to classical, I think I was 28 or 29. But even if you're in a contemporary company, right, and even contemporary companies that we're going to be presenting with Ballet Bend, even if that product you see on stage is not classical,
Right.
they're still taking ballet class every day. That's how you condition
Sure.
your body. You get
Yeah.
all the mechanics and conditioning right. Yeah, so I was late 20s, and I also, because I got started in dance because of acting, it was the literal art of storytelling, like being Romeo for 3 acts and really getting into a novel or a character and understanding their history and being in that for a long period of time I wanted to get back to. So
Yeah.
Oregon Ballet Theatre had a good mix of classical and contemporary, and was also a community that my wife and I, we had always been interested in living in. Before we even met each other, that was kind of always on our radar. So
Is she a dancer as well?
she was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was more of a contemporary dancer, and she was with Aspen Santa Fe Ballet her
Okay.
whole career.
So did you guys tour together internationally?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, for those 3 years.
Well, we're getting into a love story here.
There's a love story baked in there for sure. Yeah. It's funny. We were a small company. The company was about 11 or 12 dancers. So
Yeah.
I felt more like we were in a band than we were in a company. It's kind of a Fleetwood Mac. So there's plenty of fun stories and stuff there.
Yeah.
And then we went long distance. She stayed in Aspen when I moved to Portland because she was more contemporary. You only have so much time in your career
Sure.
to make the most of it.
That's why I asked about the age, because
Yeah, totally.
if you're starting to get to like 29, 30, you're going to start seeing some of those
Yeah.
injuries. And
Yeah, and I knew I had maybe one last stretch in me, late 20s coming into 30. So I was lucky enough to get a principal contract when I moved to Oregon Ballet Theatre with the new director,
Mhm.
good rep, and that's where I spent the last 6 years of my active dancing years.
Great. So with all of with all that you've been involved with, Ballet Bend, how does Bend work into the equation? Because I'm pretty sure we don't have a touring ballet company here.
No, professional dance and ballet is limited. Right, there's a
Yeah,
lot of dance schools,
yeah, sure.
but as far as professional and
Yeah.
definitely presenting and bringing in professional stuff from all
Mm,
over the globe, don't think there's anything here like that.
right.
How this came to be is when I retired from Oregon Ballet Theatre as a dancer, I was asked to serve as artistic director from 2021 to 2023. Um, and during that time, leading the organization, my favorite thing, I mean, amongst many things, was choosing work to put on the company and to share with the community.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like sharing your favorite movie or your favorite
Yeah.
music and
Yeah.
just making a choice of something that you think people are going to resonate with. And when you're sitting in the audience and you're feeling the investment of the audience and the investment of the company and everybody backstage, and there's these moments of everything coming together and the stillness and the emotion and just these brief but
Sure.
moments that live forever. When those happen, those are extremely rewarding to be able to foster an environment to make that possible is what I really appreciated. And in 2022, when I was there, we brought OBT2, the second company,
Okay.
just to get them performing again during the pandemic, get them on stage. We performed at the Tower. We had, again, no marketing budget. We just put up 2 posters.
Right.
Let's get these kids dancing. And we showed up to 2 sold out shows completely.
Yeah.
And I spoke before the show and sat in the audience, and just the energy was so appreciative. And as a champion of the arts and somebody who wants to present dance, to feel a community receive it with such appreciation and enthusiasm was everything you want. And that's when I realized this place can support their own cultural coolness, and there's really not too much here.
Right.
So that's when it came on my radar. This is a place I love that loves a thing that I love. And in my time at OBT, the kind of weight of the not the weight, but the size of the organization was so demanding and required such a large team
Yeah.
that if I could focus on just presenting the work and having other companies perform it at an extremely high level, that would allow us to have a greater variety of work, a really high level of kind of cultural sharing
Sure.
opportunities, and allow us to be more sustainable and get a lot more done with a much smaller team. So I just think there's a lot of benefits there.
So what is on your trajectory of Ballet Bend becoming what you hope it would be? Where are you? I mean, where is Ballet Bend?
We established 18 months ago. So I've been donating a lot of that time the last 18 months, especially all of 2025,
Yeah.
building a board, um, building support, getting a 501(c)(3),
Yeah.
doing all the market research, starting to talk to companies, and just putting all the building blocks in place for 2026 season
Yeah.
to start. So we had a very big year, website development, board development.
Great.
We got our 501(c)(3) stuff. We have money starting to move, marketing team, grant writers. So 2026, we're focusing on our shows, and then we're going to be starting our first season this September. So
All right.
finally, the
Yeah.
performances
Right.
and the thing I've been talking about for so long is finally going to start happening. We're
Very
going to
cool.
start performing at the Tower this fall. In our
Okay.
first season, we're going to have 4 different programs. So we have a show in September, a show in October, then a show in February, and a show in April 27. And we usually will have hopefully about 6 to 8 shows a year.
Yeah.
Our first season just start with 4, right? Just collect some data, make sure everything is what we think it is.
Right.
But I didn't want to bite off too small of a piece because I want people to have something to look
Yeah.
forward to once we get that momentum going. I just want it to happen. So
Seems like you're being very methodical in your approach. I wouldn't say this is impulsive.
no, it's been very non-impulsive.
Yeah.
No,
That's incredible.
I've been trying to approach it strategically, and I have a
Yeah.
lot to thank my board and my mentors and
Yeah.
my experience for helping me do this thoughtfully.
What's the first performance going to be?
We are going to be presenting 3 different companies. Usually we'll
Is
bring
it
in
contemporary or classical?
it's gonna be the full range.
Okay.
Ballet Bend is going to present the full range of, like, classical to contemporary ballet to contemporary. Ballet is kind of a conversation starter,
Mm.
a kind of place to, um, like a reference point. Like if you were going to tell somebody about a movie they'd never heard of, you would use a movie they had heard of to kind of explain it. So that's where ballet starts. And all of these different styles, they all stand on the shoulders of ballet and ballet technique and practice ballet class pretty much
Mhm.
every day. There is a place for celebrating classical ballet in its finest forms. I still love it. That was my first love. But I also think there's a really wide ocean of rad, physical, thoughtful, adventurous, bold,
Yeah.
and athletic contemporary work that I think can appeal to modern audiences well. So the first program is very important to curate something that demonstrates all three lanes that we might be going in. So
Yeah.
we're going to have San Francisco Ballet perform something classical. Going to have Charlotte Ballet perform this incredible piece. It's contemporary ballet by a South African choreographer. It's called From Africa with Love. That's going to be the closer. And then we're going to have Portland's contemporary company, Open Space Dance. They're going to perform one of their new works
Wow.
by choreographer Noelle Kaiser. That's really, really physical. The way that she uses this massive bodies, it's really, really cool. And it kind of demonstrates where dance can go tomorrow. So that way, when people leave, they'll understand, okay, Ballet Bend is curating excellence, but we can expect the unexpected,
Yeah.
but it will be of high quality.
When you're reaching out to these ballet companies, are they like, Bend what? Bend?
Well, no, I mean, we're,
I
I'm
mean, I
not-
know Bend's on the map for
Well-
mountain biking, but not for ballet.
well, when they reach out, I'm not saying, hey, this is Ben. I'm saying, hey, this is Peter from such and such. So that
I
helps.
knew that.
Yeah. No, so that helps a little bit.
It wasn't,
And then, and then I
they
let
weren't
them know.
sending
But
a
people,
letter.
but people are excited to be
Yeah.
appreciated and
Yeah.
excited to have someone reach out and make an inquiry. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I tell them a little bit. It's not hard to Google, and
Well, that's great.
yeah. So there's a few limitations at the Tower Theater. It's not the biggest stage, so
Yeah.
when I talk to these companies about what to perform, we can't just do anything. We have to think
Yeah.
about, okay, might this be slightly self-contained? Some of the big sets or moving parts might not be something that we can do. So we can still blow people's minds. I'm not worried about that. The tower has been great.
Yeah.
But just trying to be thoughtful about how we use the space right. I don't want to try to pack too much into a space, right? You wouldn't put a professional figure skater on a rink that's too small to do something. So
Yeah.
want to make sure
You don't want to tell
select
people they
right.
can't jump.
No, well, there'll be
Yeah.
plenty of jumping, plenty of stuff. But sometimes like a
But these people
huge
could
mass,
jump
you
off
can't.
the stage. I mean, they
Yeah.
could do 2 bounds.
No, we
and
can
be
go
off
up and
the
down,
tower.
but we can't have like
Stage.
40 people on stage and like a whole forest.
Right.
No, but there's still a way to do a lot of stuff. So yeah, we're just getting creative and we're working with a network of people that, and the dance world is small at a certain point. Even if I don't know somebody directly, I'm about one person away
Yeah.
from being able to get to them and having a good conversation.
Are you looking at for yourself? Are you going to join any of these troops? Are you going to dance?
Am I gonna dance? I mean, unless there's a whole barrage of injuries last second, probably not. But I do choreograph.
Yeah.
That's one of my passions. So
Yeah, great.
I don't want to start off by putting my work
Yeah.
first. That's not what this is about. But I have created some fun stuff.
Yeah.
There will be an opportunity to be creative and work with dancers to make things fit a program.
Yeah.
So I think there will be a bit of me, but I think my ideas or my taste and the sort of characteristics of the
Yeah.
dance I like to present, I think, should speak to people.
After this podcast, people are going to want to see you dance. And there's
Listen, if the demand
you
is
got
up
a
there and the price is
reputation
right,
now.
if the price, we can always talk about it. Give me an email.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw you at the gym a couple months ago. I'm trying to keep fit. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
if somebody needs it, we can talk.
Right. We are at the end of our time, Peter. So anything that we didn't touch on you'd like people to know, where can they find out more about Ballet Bend?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go to balletbend.org. That's where you can find information about our board, how to contribute, how to be a part of things,
Yeah.
how to order tickets. I think this is released next week, so we're working right now to get
Those are
tickets live. So by the time this releases, just go to the website. You can leave your email address if you want to be kept up to date with newsletters and all correspondence. So it's kind of all there. I got my email address if you want to reach out to me directly. And everybody in Bend, including yourself, has been so receptive, so supportive, and working with this community and helping, be part of its story has just been a privilege. So
I mean, and one of the cool things about living in Bend is, these are we gripe about the growth and the housing and the traffic and stuff, but, with it comes things like, hey, man, there might be a professional ballet corps here, and that's incredible. That's one of the things that makes these exciting times.
Yeah, and listen, growth is inevitable.
Yeah.
So it's how we grow and what kind of color and direction we add to it. We can make it what we want.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Peter, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. We'll see you later.
This has been the Bend Don't Break podcast. If you like what you heard, go to the website bendsource.com and become a member, donate so we can keep talking about things like ballet, and we had opera before you. We become a classical fine
Look at
arts
that.
podcast.
Before
Who
you
knew? Who knew? Thanks.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Bend Don't Break podcast, powered by The Source Weekly. To read, hear, and see more of what we do, go to bendsource.com.